Hi everyone, I'm James. I'm one of the founders at Isla and I lead on the tech side of the business, so working really closely across our product design and engineering teams on what we're going to be building next.
Hi, I'm Lara, head of the product team at Isla, working really closely with James. My team focuses mostly on what we build and how we're going to build it, working really closely on clinical implementation as well.
And we're going to be ripping off some of these little strips to answer some questions about Isla. I'll start?
Yeah, you start.
Okay, I'll do my first little strip. What is Isla? Okay, easy one to start with. Isla is a market-leading DPP, digital pathway platform. We allow clinical teams to codify their clinical pathways and allow them to define all the steps on that pathway for them to really shift into a more proactive way of delivering care for their patients.
Nice. Right, on the next. How does Isla help clinical and admin teams save time? This one's really sort of front of mind for the product team, I think, all day, every day. We work really closely with our partners to understand their patient pathways and to kind of understand how we can digitize them and improve them as well, looking to improve patient outcomes and the experience that clinical admin teams have. The steps that we take there are to kind of map the pathways into Isla, and then once we have that, we can start to look at where we can sort of find efficiencies and improvements, whether that's things like gathering information from patients ahead of time, sharing sort of patient records for an MDT style of working, automating away manual tasks, or even just sort of creating a work list of patients for my clinic for today, so that when I log on to Isla, I know exactly what I need to see and what I need to do.
Okay, I'll go next?
Yeah, you can go next.
Okay. What automations does Isla have? Almost quite difficult to answer, I think, because we've built a really powerful automation engine which effectively allows any event in Isla to trigger any other event in Isla. And so that has loads and loads of different implementations, and we're actually still discovering new ones as our clinical teams come to us and ask us to set up more and more of those automations. And so to give you an example, that could be based on a patient submitting something into Isla, we could be reviewing that stuff and triggering a message to go out back to the trust as an update to their APR. But the list goes on. There's really kind of endless configurations that we could be applying into those automations.
Nice. What's one automation that makes life easier for clinicians? Okay, nice. So building on then what James just said, I think probably my favourite example, maybe the most widely used example as well in Isla, is we can be tying requests out to patients to appointments that we receive. So if we know that a patient has an appointment on March the 10th, then we can be setting up automations to automatically send out a request to them a week before, ask them to fill in a questionnaire or sharing some guidance about their upcoming appointment. And that's really nice because if we can be kind of shifting the time that it takes to fill in, for example, a questionnaire about their history to the patient while they're still at home before they come in, then there's immediate time saving there for the patient and for the clinician as well.
Back to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's one problem that Isla's automation is solving right now? Well, I suppose just to build on what Lara was just saying, there's a huge example there around administration and administering all of these patient pathways. There's already so much complexity that sits behind all of these clinical pathways, and so being able to shift all of that over to Isla and then Isla iteratively and incrementally then automate a load of those steps is an absolute lifesaver for admin teams. But then on the clinical side as well, I think there's what this solves for, what that example solves for, is that when a clinician comes to make a decision about a patient, they have all of the information they need to be able to solve it. And so I think in terms of one problem, it's difficult to answer, but actually there's a whole bunch of problems that these automations strung together in a really constructive way allow us to solve with the clinical teams that we're working with.
Nice. Last one. What's the latest automation feature in Isla? Got so many that we've been developing. I think one that I really love and one that we've done recently is, let's say a patient submits a questionnaire, they fill in some information. we can send out automatically any sort of response to the patient based on that. So an example there is if the patient shares that they're on a certain type of medication and that's relevant to their pathway or to the caseload, then we can automatically share out guidance for how they might be best placed to take that medication or what impact that might have. And so it's really nice because patients can have this sort of immediate response, and we can be removing that manual admin heavy burden of having to share our resources, and we can make sure that patients are receiving